And this is Spiked Up.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Hey there, Colorado running fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Spiked Up. As always, I'm Bobby Reyes, and I'm going to be your host. Now, before we get rolling, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the Niwot Market. All right, so first of all, happy July. Spiked Up is back. Thanks for tuning in here. It's when I say happy July, it's sort of like code for, there's not a whole lot going on. There's not a whole lot going on the track. We're cross country. We're kind of like in between seasons, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things happening. And so this week, I really want to talk about two really big moves here, or moves as they may be signings, because very recently, two Colorado alumni signed professional contracts with Nike. Both athletes are going to be joining the Swoosh track club based in Flagstaff, Arizona, coached by Northern Arizona University coach Mike Smith, who's had a ton of success. And so I want to talk specifically at first, let's talk about Maggi Congdon. For those of you who don't remember her, she was a multi-Colorado state champion based out of Steamboat Springs back in the day, mid-distance events. And she went on to NAU, coached by Mike Smith, and just exploded. It's one thing to be really good in Colorado, like she was. She was a really good mid-distance runner here in Colorado, which says a lot because Colorado obviously produces some of the best distance runners in the country. So being really good in Colorado is one thing, but what happened at NAU was just awesome. Just to put it in one word, she just exploded. She went from being really good really good in Colorado here to being one of the greatest at the collegiate level in the 1500 meter. A year ago, she ran 4:02.79 in the 1500, which is number 6 all time for collegians. She was a Olympic trials finalist in the 1500 meter last summer. And she's coming off a monster senior season where she was third in the indoor mile and then third in the outdoor 1500 meter, which obviously set her up really well to sign a professional contract with Nike. But what's really exciting with her is not only her growth at the collegiate level under Mike Smith, but now she's sticking around town, going to stay in Flagstaff to be coached by the coach she's had for her entire college career. It's like that age-old saying: if it's not broke, don't fix it. Super excited for her because again, she has had a lot of success in college under Mike Smith, and here she's going to stick around and take it to the pro level, coming off a great senior year. I'm repeating myself. I know it's just a lot to be excited about. An athlete coming from Steamboat Springs, not exactly one of the largest towns here in Colorado, but and I'm pretty sure lots of former teammates have to be excited to see her competing at the professional level. I know I'm one who was there for her high school career. Super excited to see her taking it to the big stage. Another athlete, this one's a little bit more recent. Parker Wolfe. If you don't know Parker Wolfe, I don't know where you've been, because Parker is arguably you could say he's the greatest distance runner in Colorado history, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have, that's a conversation, but in my opinion, I say that because, his senior year, at one point in his senior year, he held Colorado state records in the 5,000, the 3,200 meter, and the 1,600. However, briefly in that 16, because obviously Harrison went and took that one back, but Parker was one of the only guys to actually have all three records at the same exact time. And, when I say, if you don't remember Parker, kind of briefly touching on his high school career, he kind of ran in the shadows of Cole Sprout for the first 3 years. I mean, Parker was always great, but he was always behind. He's always in the shadows. But his senior year was that weird COVID year where cross-country season was 7 weeks long. The track season was 7 weeks long. And despite such a condensed schedule, he went on, like I mentioned, and set multiple Colorado state records, and had a ton of success, just completely exploded, and was a great, if not the greatest, Colorado distance runner of all time. And I'm pretty sure any athlete will tell you this, or any athlete who's had the success, or maybe not had the success, that it's one thing to be great in high school and a whole other thing to be great at the collegiate level. Those are two very different things. It's even harder to do at the collegiate level because everyone's great. But Parker was great in college. He went on to University of North Carolina, had a ton of success. Let's look here. He was the 2024, he won the 5,000 meter at Nationals, NCAAs. He actually finished third at the Olympic trials, which qualified him for the Paris Olympics, but he didn't have that time qualifier, so could not compete in Paris. But 730, number 2 all-time indoor in 3,000. In that 334 in the 1,500. And again, I feel like he's definitely more of that 5K kind of a guy, but he just had such an incredible career at UNC. And now he's going pro with Nike, going to be joining Maggi at Flagstaff at the Swoosh TC. So like I was saying, with Parker being great in high school and then great in college, and then now he's going on to the next level, and he's already shown, signs, shown hints of what he can do. But, kind of like Maggi, another really exciting signing for the Swoosh TC, because Parker has always been great. And what makes this even more exciting, at least from my perspective, is he's going with his teammate Ethan Strand. Ethan Strand is another great UNC runner, but Parker's always been one of those guys that he's always competed really well when he's had someone either pushing or pulling. Like he seems to kind of like relish in having that competition, and so he's going to Flagstaff with a teammate who, most of the time that they race, they were going 1-2 or finishing right around each other. It seems like they work really well together, and obviously, these are some of the best distance runners ever. So going to run for Swoosh TC with a teammate, I would only imagine continued improvement. Lots of great races in front of them. So, I kind of rambled there for quite a bit about Maggi and Parker, just because two Colorado athletes signed Nike contracts, going on to the next level. Any athlete that's living the dream. Getting to do this professionally is living the dream, and so super excited for Parker and Maggi. Lots of great things in front of them. It's going to be great seeing them compete in the future. So that about wraps up this week's edition of Spiked Up. We're going to start transitioning a little bit here as cross country gets a little closer, and maybe start diving into some things that we're going to be seeing on the course this fall. But just really kind of want to give a huge shout out to Parker and Maggi. It was great. It was great getting to cover them as high school athletes. Super exciting to keep up with them in their college seasons, and now even more so at the pro level. Great job. So, all right, like I mentioned, that about wraps up this week's edition of Spiked Up, and also Young Track.
Doing it all for you, my Lewis. I'm just getting started.